Alright, I do believe we are all set to go here, and so tonight, after some very shocking revelations were made, we actually have won the battle, but we haven't yet won the war, as it were, with Garlemald. We came to their territory, they did not like the fact they were doing it, even though many of them were running for their own lives from their own countrymen being brainwashed. But now they've run into a situation where they have no choice but to basically accept the fact that they have well and truly lost. Something that was made very clear by the fact that one of the legatuses took his own life in the previous stream. And so, tonight, we now get to pick up the pieces, not only over where that particular Guardian encampment was located, but now also we have more quests to take care of here at Camp Broken Glass. And so, hey there Nate, and to everyone else that's just logging on, we're glad to have you with us here tonight. So, greetings people of the world, Matthias Griffin back with you as we continue with Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker live here on Twitch. And so, our Warrior of Light Rika is ready to embark on her next journey to help out the various people in and around the locations in Garlemald. Like I said, Camp Broken Glass, and then all the way over here in Tertium. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff for us to take care of now before we return to the main story. So let's not waste any more time and make our way to start helping people. We'll begin with a representative of the Maelstrom, Bartholomew. Or Bartholomew, not quite sure how to go about it, but he's definitely promoting some sparring right now. So we'll take on his quest first, entitled Beasts of the Imperial Wild. Bartholomew in Camp Broken Glass is having a devil of a time trying to keep the stores pest-free. Blast it all! Overgrown bastard got away again! If only there was someone we could turn to. But who? Turn to your right. Oh, excuse me, didn't see you there. Pardon my mumbling. Hold a moment. Let me have a look at you. Those eyes? That steady-set jaw? Yes, you're a doughty sort, aren't you? Perfect. You're just the woman I was in the market for. Obviously, we've never been introduced. Warrior of Light at your service. Our camp stores are being pillaged, plundered, and altogether despoiled, which is troublesome indeed, as we've so little in the way of provisions as it is. Fortunately, the thieves left trucks, which the Guardian hunters of the area tell us belong to a variety of Yeti known as Almasti. The wretches are so wily that once they've found a source of food, they come in droves, telling all their other accursed friends. So that leaves us with only one recourse: swift and bloody retribution. I was told to find the assistance of a master huntswoman, but you certainly can't find one of those just lying about. I was fretting over whom to ask when you fell straight into my lap. And you seem as good a hunter as any, right? If you're willing to cooperate, and I'm sure that you are, speak with the Imperial Hunter just outside camp. He'll set you on the right path. Alright then. Yeah, now that we're actually making friends with the Guardians, let's go see how this first one is going to give us a hand. Before we do, though, I'm going to go ahead and check this Chocobo Keep off the list. Are you also dressed in a Temple Knight gear? Now this is a first. Ishgard welcomes Lalafels into the ranks of the Temple Knights. Well, there's a first time for everything. Hey Tharia, welcome to the stream, glad to have you with us. Alright there, Imperial Hunter, what do you have to tell us in the cold? Hold a moment, I know you! Yes, you're one of the Yorsians who was brought to the station, aren't you? That's right. I was told that I would receive assistance from one involved in the contingent's decision-making processes, but I must say, seeing you here comes as a shock. You seem the sort of person as to be above the sniping of vermin. Sure you have the time to spend on such menial tasks? It's part of my job description. Very well, I won't press the subject any longer. Your assistance will prove invaluable, I'm certain. Now then, time is wasting. Let's reconvene in the Ablon Ream, the Almasti's territory, and that's where we'll set up the trap. Alright, away you go, and so we will follow. So yeah, after the big shocking revelation that while the people here have been standing their ground, their contemporaries said, "We've had enough." Yeah, you know it's bad for the Guardian Empire when that happens. It certainly is. But we're not there yet, where my FC member has said where he is. But yeah, bit of a teaser as to what's to come, but yeah, if you haven't had the chance to see yet from early access when I did that on YouTube, don't worry, we'll make sure that the Let's Play covers everything that was not featured in said early access. Yeah, we have to cover quite a bit of ground in order to get to where the hunter is. Are we really going to, like, I was about to say, are we going to Victor's spoils here? But no. No, the people down there have suffered enough. We caused them to do inexplicable things. This here is the Almasty's land, and considering how prolific the things are, we shouldn't have to wait long before one comes lumbering by. Ah, but I forget myself. Before we go hunting, here, specialty spirits. Not for you, of course. For them, the Almasties. Drown them in this stuff and there'll be 3 sheets to the wind before you know it. There's no easier quarry to catch than a drunk fool, am I right? Also, once you've found one, don't forget to collect a bloody chunk from it. So yeah, it looks like we're weakening this thing. Yeah, a technique we do not typically see all that often in this game. Unless you really put in the work and do all the side quests, this is something you do not typically see. Alright. So let's chill out here in a chilly environment. And wait for Big Ugly to appear. Here you are. Not in range yet, but you are now. Hey, slow down and chill out a little, man. Yeah, slow down and chill a little, man. We're not gonna hurt you all that much. We just wanna have a good time, man. Yeah, we'll get down and we'll get high as well. Alright. Let's turn over the chunk to Mr. Hunter. Have you the bloody chunk I requested? I should hope you kept it in a bottle, for I would rather not have gold dripping all over both of us. I didn't know a bottle had to be involved, but okay, here you go. Yeah, here's your mysterious bottle. Good work, I must say. You've quite the mettle to face such beasts without so much as batting an eyelid. Though it was silly of me to expect aught else from the selfsame woman who set foot into Tertium, knowing full well it was a trap. You must be wondering why the blood. Well, the Almasties are clever creatures. They won't willingly wander into dangerous lands, especially ones that smell of death. So sprinkling a copious amount of their fellows' gore about the encampment ought to ensure that they give us a wide berth. Let's head back to Camp Broken Glass. There you can tell the soldier who sent you to me that he was right to put you on the job. Yeah, where did the bottle come from? Maybe we can ponder that while we're heading on back. Alright, let's go and find Bartholomew again. The hunter has delivered word to me already of his plans to deal with our Yeti troubles. How clever a stratagem he set upon. If only the method weren't quite so macabre, shall we say. Almost surreal to consider that our whilom foes now aid us in our survival. Today has proven to me that we really can bridge the divide that once separated us from them, and all it takes for us to simply reach out and offer a hand in friendship. I should like very much were this newfound partnership to continue. I couldn't agree more, so we'll take our experience points in 975 gil. And as always, we will leave the blue quest for last. Alright, so we helped out Ilette before, and we're going to be helping her out again. This time she has a quest entitled The Hero Never Bonds. Illet has for you a rather explosive assignment. Aha! You do have a way of appearing at the most opportune times, don't you? I was only thinking to myself, if only Rika were here. So, to business. In light of our work to aid the people of Garlemald, the First Legion put to us an offer. The Service Machina is ours should we want it, though, as we've all recently learned, nothing is ever so easy, as the Magitech in question still lies within the city limits. The self-same engineer who gifted us with this information has offered to escort you to the site. That's right, mentioned you by name, even. I would never force you to attend to a task so perilous, but it would be a great boon for our cause were we to wrangle that Machina to our purposes. Alright then. The area in question is sadly littered with detritus of all manner, making exploration difficult if not impossible. To that end, here, these are to blast, bomb, and demolish any barrier foolish enough to stand between our hero and her cause. The engineer awaits you outside the encampment's limits. Find him when you are ready to brave the perils of the city. Alright, so yeah, looks like we're going... Oh, he's not that far. Hey there, Sir Robert, how you doing? You know, always glad to see my Dragoon Master out and about. Hello there, sir. You came. I half expected you might not, given the dangers. Then again, you are Eorzea's champion, and what sort of hero balks at the face of a challenge? Forgive my excitement, I've been wanting to make your acquaintance for some time now. Oh, is that so? Yes, well, anyway, shall we be off then? Find me at Reggio Urbanissima, and I shall escort you from there. Far easier that way, trust me. Alright, I will see you there. Yeah, we'll go ahead and warp to Tertium, get ourselves there a little bit quicker. Yeah, and as much as we would like to help do the side quests in Tertium, this is not the time for that. Yeah, I imagine we'll be busy taking care of everything at Camp Broken Glass first, and then we will make our way over to Tertium. There are lots of side quests to do, and it'll be interesting to see how they all play out. But yeah, I'm guessing people are still coming in to see the results of what happened over the course of the journey. So, popping on out and heading on into town. Yeah, but the least the Guardians could have done is turn off all the Magitech things that they've created. Yeah, turn off the Machina, turn off the Magitech armor, turn off the Vanguards, turn it all off. I guess they couldn't have done that though, given that they likely would have become corrupted, so... Yeah, we're forced to go to an area that is still not safe. Yeah, were you given a warding talisman, if you don't mind me asking, sir? Anyway, my chocobo is blocking me. Well, this is a bother. The Magitech I have my eye on doesn't seem to be quite as successful as I hoped. There's just so much accursed wreckage in the way. We won't be able to drag the thing out. A pickle indeed. Hate to ask, but have you any brilliant ideas up that sleeve of yours? Well, let's ponder this over. Use some explosives on you? That will do the trick, certainly. Alas, I'm not at all skilled in Eorzean technologies, which means there's a distinct possibility I'll blow my hands clean off if I try to tinker with such a device. Perhaps I could leave the blasting of objects to you? Sure you can. And we'll start immediately over here. Position one right over here. Also, that thing is active. Yes, thankfully it's not feral, but still, it's creepy to have that thing bobbing up and down. Ah, you've made us a path. Very good, very good. Now my Machina can finally get his day in the sun. The poor boy was originally meant to be used against the Third Legion to rain death and destruction upon them, but I lied to my superior officer, told them this Machina was too far beyond repair to be purposed for any practical military use. Now it gets a second, far more peaceful chance at life. And I am spared the grief of knowing I had a hand in spilling my countrymen's blood. When I was told to what ends it would be used, I couldn't believe my ears. This was not the empire I knew, the empire I believed in. I have been taught that our country's cornerstone was peace, one founded upon the ways of science and machine. How can we make such a claim when internecine strife lays waste to our lands, kills our people? You may be Eorzean, but I see that your heart is true, so I know that you will answer me honestly when I ask. Do you find the Empire cruel and barbarous? Yeah. Those you've invaded no doubt do. Yeah. Are we gonna be that frank with him? Yeah, all that separates our two sides is creed. Or just say nothing. Well, yeah, let's just come out and say it. Yes, of course. It's the victors who write history, and I fear that Garlemald would be penned with no kind hand. We've seen to that ourselves. Even so, I still wholeheartedly believe in our founding principle, unification under the banner of peace. Even though the pretenses that were created as a result were not exactly all that great. Which is why I plan to put this war machine to better use, like rebuilding our city for one. His days on the battlefield will be behind him once my tools have done their work. Thank you for allowing me this chance to talk so frankly, and for all of the pyrotechnics and whatnot, of course. Well then, shall we be heading back? I'm sure your comrade Elias is in want of a report about now. Alright, and so he's on his way. After he takes his little pet for a ride. And so away they go. And so will we. Alright. Okay, there, we're all done.
There you are, Rika. I've already received word from our friend the engineer. He was rather fulsome in his praise of you, I must say. You are a credit to the cause. There was a lightness about him, one I hadn't seen when he first spoke to me. It was as if a weight had been fallen clean off his shoulders. As a member of the Imperial Army, he is no doubt conflicted about this state of affairs. Perhaps speaking with you helped him gain a bit of perspective on the whole thing. Who knows? At any rate, allow me to thank you for your work today. We couldn't have done it without you.
Glad I could help, and so we'll take our experience at 975 gil. Now let's go a little further along. We have what appears to be two around the opposite side of this building, or maybe even between. Nope, they're both over here. So we'll begin with this contingent scouts to take on his quest entitled In the Skies Above Garlemald. A member of the contingent's reconnaissance force is looking for an intrepid soul willing to sit astride Magitech armor. Salutations, Rika. Forget the abrupt nature of my question, but have you ever sat astride Magitech armor? Yeah, I have. Fantastic. If anyone were to have such experience, I knew it would be you. The reason for my asking is simple. We wish to get an aerial view of the city to assess damages. A Magitech pilot belonging to the 1st Legion was kind enough to suggest we use one of their flying units to conduct our survey. Alas, the person we initially requested for this assignment has been injured and rendered unable to board the armor. Fortunately, I have found you, or rather, you have found me, as it were. This Magitech pilot I spoke of awaits you at Limnol Station 4. You'll find him performing maintenance on the armor you'll be using. He will get you set up. Alright, and since it's basically about halfway between both of the Aetherites, we pretty much have no choice but to just go. Yeah, we have no choice but to just go. Watch out for the bears, too. Yeah, how is this Sunday evening treating everyone? Or Tharia, I guess in your case it's early Monday. As we make our way up and over the Eblon Rhyme. Yeah, I need to remember it's pronounced rhyme in this game, not ream. It looks like our person of interest may be on the opposite side of the platform. Let's go find out. Hey, look, we found cars. Yeah, how did that slip by our notice? Well, we were on the opposite side, but yeah. Garlemald even has cars. Hello, sir. Well, well, well. Eosia's very own hero herself is to be our pilot. Then again, accomplished aviators such as yourself are thin on the ground these days. I suppose they had to turn to you. I've heard some fascinating stories about you, you know. Is it true you rode an ancient Allegan war machina into battle against the 7th Legion? Seemed far-fetched, but now that I've gotten a good look at you, I can see there may be some truth to the tale. Yeah, I'll go along with that. But let us turn to the business at hand. The Ilsabard contingent has requested that we ascertain the level of damage the city has sustained, and the only real way to get a proper handle on the situation is from above. However, there are still hosts of autonomous machines lurking in the streets, and they won't hesitate to shoot down an unidentified craft, which is where the 1st Legion's Magitech comes in. So long as we remain inside this armor, we needn't fear attack from the ground. When your loins are sufficiently girded for your trip among the clouds, just say the word. Yeah, I'm all set. Not to scare you off, as this mission is of great importance to us, but I hope you've some idea of what you are about to embark upon. You'll be wheeling through the sky in what is essentially a metal bucket. If that hasn't unnerved you, I'm ready when you are. Are you ready, board? Yeah. Let's see what we got. Then let us be on our way. Yeah. All aboard, and this thing is on autopilot. So let's pan out and give ourselves a perspective here. As we fly into the snowstorm. We shall start our survey from the north. A word of warning though. From above, the extent of the damage will seem much greater than what you expected. It may come as something of a shock. Well, let's get a full look. Yeah, there basically isn't a single damaged building. See that overpass there? It looks like it might collapse at any moment. A single chocobo feather could see it crumble to dust, I reckon. We shall cordon it off and ensure that none of our attempts to enter the area. And as we're doing this hover, we're accessing more locations as we get closer and closer to the palace. And get ourselves a look. This is Palatium Novum. Though it is in a sorry state now, it tells of once the symbols of our empire, symbols of the progress we could achieve. I am inclined to enter the structure proper to examine the extent of the devastation from within. Sadly, we are still too few in number for such an undertaking. It will have to wait. Yeah, have you ever seen us get free experience like this before? Oh, hello there, vantage point. Look there. This looks largely intact, which is little wonder. The building, which dates back to the era of the Republic, is said to be constructed from materials meant to ward. Cleaning out all our buildings with erected was such a design philosophy. We foolishly assumed that war machina defending us will make up for less than ideal structural integrity. You can see what cutting corners cost us. With that, I say we hit all the carry areas for the city, for the most part. Let's return to count broken glass, shall we? Alright. Yeah, he was talking real fast. Yeah, we're really just getting a free ride back over? Thank you for joining me in the skies today, Rika. Glad I could come along. Yeah, think nothing of it. I confess, I've been on my guard around you, Eorzean lot. You're not the only one to think that. It has been beaten into my skull that you are, and will always be, my enemy. Spending time with you today, however, has made me realize that you are truly here to help us, not harm us. As we have a look again. To be honest, your contingent support has been a bright spot in this gloom. It is easy to fall prey to hopelessness, but we've a responsibility to fight on, do we not? We are all of us living on this star, and who else can see it brought back from the brink of ruin? Many of us have lost families, friends, loved ones. Grief hangs heavy on the Empire. We need time to lick our wounds, but that does not mean we are without the fire of determination. We wish to see our home restored to its former glory, but preferably not without the whole invasion angle. That is part of the reason why I decided to undertake this task, actually. I wanted to better understand not only the road ahead for the Empire, but to see for myself the stuff you Eorzeans are made of. Enough sentimentality though, there's still much to be done here, and this armor won't repair itself. Would you mind reporting back to the reconnaissance officer who assigned you to this task and tell him of our findings? Of course. Alright, let's head on back to Broken Glass. Alright, so that's all taken care of. And we'll see what the scout has to say about everything. We'll pass by you for a moment, but only just for a moment since we finished with the scouts. You've flown through the skies above Golemald and lived to tell the tale. How was the Imperial pilot? I can't imagine how difficult it must be to look down on such wreckage and know that it was once your home, but I'm sure your presence was a comfort to him. It'll take a great deal of hard work and elbow grease to see this city restored, but I've all the faith in the world that we can see it done. I only hope that our efforts here can bring about an alliance between our realms. I hope so too. And so we'll take our experience points, our 815 gil, plus 2 portions of King Crab Cake, which turns out to be a melee DPS type of food. I can definitely get behind this. And so away he goes. Before we move on though, I do want to speak with Sir Alberic again. As a knight, I am in sworn service to the people. Thus shall I commit myself to the protection of all those who haven't the arms to defend themselves, whomsoever they may be. Do me proud there, Sir Alberic. And so now, let's move on to speak with Manuki, representing the people of Suino Sato, and we'll get his quest entitled, Help Me to Help You. Are we doing the Jerry Maguire thing here? Manuki's worried expression rather spoils his otherwise formidable appearance. I have a question. Do I look imposing? Intimidating, perhaps? Really? I really feel that way about this guy? Soy, you must think it strange I would ask such a thing. The truth is, I encountered a boy near one of the storerooms, and when I called out to him, he ran away at the sight of me. I was only trying to lend a helping hand. Later on, I learned that the place was used as a granary, so the lad was most likely searching for food. Now, thanks to me scaring him off, he's probably had to go hungry. I couldn't live with myself if he starved because of me, though I fear he'd only run off if I tried to approach him. I wonder, perhaps he wouldn't mind going in my stead? Here, you may find him more easily with this telescope. May the Kami guide you. Well, there's no question that he was very successful, but yeah, where outside of where you live, Tharya, he does not have a very glowing reputation. I know you're looking at him because he's your countryman, but in the eyes of the rest of the world, we do not hold him in very high regard. So, let's see if we can find this missing boy. And why don't you know it, there he is. Lugging around a crate. Thankfully he was moving slow enough that I could spot him easily. So away he goes over there. You spot the boy carrying a crate in the direction of Limno Station 4. Going back there again, huh? Alright then. Back to Limno Station 4. But yeah, unless you're from where you live, Tharia, or if you're a fan of Ferrari, you're not someone who really likes Michael Schumacher. Hey there, Elizabeth. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you with us. So let's head on over to where the boy went to. See if we can possibly find him behind this pillar, perhaps? Indeed. Hello.
What do you want?
Don't worry, we're not here to scare you.
Saw me, did you? So what? I didn't do anything wrong. Finders keepers. And this food ain't just for me. The others need it too. I know you're just trying to help, but we can look after ourselves. If your friend's worried about us, tell him we'll be alright. Unless this food runs out anyway.
Alright then. But don't come crying to us if you end up regretting your decision to shun us. I mean, we know how many of you were doing that beforehand. Alright. So let's go see what Manuki has to say about this situation. Did you manage to track him down? We did indeed. That's a relief, though his outright refusal of our help is concerning. We came here with the best intentions, but barely a moment's consideration for how the people of Garlemald might feel towards us. I suppose it's only natural they'd be wary. If they won't accept our aid, we can still make their lives a little easier. We'll start by making the area around the granary safer so they can gather food whenever they please. Here, I'd like you to have this for giving me peace of mind. And so we'll take our 178,200 experience points and 735 gil. And that's checked off. So, let's continue on. And find someone known as Talon. Representing the Immortal Flames. Yeah, surprisingly, it's not a Rogadin. Let's go ahead and speak with them to take on not one, but two quests. Let's start with the first one, entitled Scouting for Scouts. Scouts must excel in keeping themselves hidden, but when even their own comrades cannot locate them, there is surely trouble afoot. Please, a moment of your time. Alright then. From one Immortal Flame to another. A friend who was sent out on a reconnaissance has been gone for far too long, and she's not responding to her link pearl. Will you help me look for her? Alright then. I knew you would. Let's split up. I'll search around the camp while you head for the lake. Alright then. To the lake we go. Yeah, let's see if we can find this missing scout. Yeah, I've seen Lewis Hamilton race, and he just has never really come across as dirty, and if he has, it's only very little in comparison to other drivers like Michael Schumacher. I mean, Max Verstappen is the world champion now, and when he came in, he's basically spent the first few years being a spoiled, reckless little brat. But he's definitely matured over the course of this year. Let's just hope that the success doesn't go to his head. Alright. I don't know who you two are, but you picked the wrong time to make an attack. Yeah, it looks like the representative from the contingent was helping out someone who was in distress. And now they're both in distress. Yeah, we'll get you taken care of.
Thank goodness you're... Oh, thank goodness you're here. Never mind me. This man is in desperate need of aid.
Alright, sir. Yeah, he's clutching his arm, as we can see.
Ugh. I thought he could use my help, so I called out to him. but he soon bolted in fear. That's when one of these fiends appeared out of nowhere and pounced on him. Though although I rushed to fend it off, it had already singled to its packmates. Then just as they had me on the back foot, you arrived. I would have called for assistance if my hands weren't already full, but thanks to your timely intervention, I can finally send for troops to take this poor fellow to safety. I'll move him to a more secure location until our comrades get here. While you and I are both perfectly capable of conveying the situation via link pearl, perhaps it would set their minds at ease if you could also speak to them in person?
Alright, we can do that. So, back out of broken glass again. We'll certainly be covering a lot of ground from that point. Alright, here we go. Alright, Mr. Talon. Here's what we found.
Gods be good, I'll dispatch troops at once!
Hold on, no need to do that. Calm down. Yeah, calm down, little sir.
We're lucky you got there when you did, though. I wonder what drew that civilian to such a dangerous place to begin with. Perhaps he was in search of supplies? I doubt he'd find much food in that particular area, so it must have been fuel he was after. If I were him, I'd try that enormous extraction facility on the lake, but it sounds like he was hoping to get ceruleum from the water itself. Seems like a tricky task at the best of times, although I expect the folks around those parts have their methods. If so, they could probably stay holed up for months on end, provided there's enough food to go around. Well, the main thing is that he and my friend are no longer in any danger. I see now that you're every bit the hero people say you are, not that I ever doubted it. So we'll take our experience in 895 gil. And then, since Talon has more than one quest, we'll go ahead and take his next one. Entitled, A Place of Greater Safety. Talon has received word from a comrade in dire straits somewhere in the city. Rika, we've received a rather urgent call for assistance only moments ago. One of our finest located a civilian and meant to lead him to safety, but was waylaid. Magitech ordnance set upon them, and our comrade was wounded in the barrage. I shouldn't prattle on any longer. This is their most desperate hour and are in urgent need of help. The city streets can be treacherous to the inexperienced, which is why I would ask that you undertake this task. Can they count on your assistance?
Indeed they can.
I'm ready, willing, and able. Excellent. Seek out our man in Reggio Urbanissima and provide him with this tincture. That ought to set him on his feet again and, with any luck, grant him strength enough to get both himself and the civilian back here.
Alright, away we go.
Over to Tertia. And from there we'll go on into the city. So, let's head on out. Make sure we know where we're going. Yeah, we don't want to get lost around here, and Estenian is chilling out in this place, trying to help wherever he can. So, up we go. And now, off to the west. Where will we find this particular individual? Let's hit the streets, hit the ground running, and see where they have gone to. Yeah, we're going particularly deep into the city this time. You know, weave our way around the Colossi. Yeah. Can we just take the ceruleum off of them? Now make our way underneath the highway.
Yeah, we really are covering a lot of ground. So much so that we're going to be coming up on a fate. Actually, before I even do that, let's at least turn around and hit this part of the map to reveal it. Only need to jump up on here, jump up on the car, and with a little luck, hopefully, maybe, don't leave me hanging on this. Oh, hey, ether current. All right. We'll take that. Absolutely. Alright, there we go. And so away we go. So, underneath the overpass again. Oh, there's still a little chunk of land left that's not revealed over there. Oh, alright. We'll come for it another time if we have to. But yeah, it was worth it. We found another ether current. Alright, hopping over and getting ourselves to where we go next. But yeah, Elizabeth, in regards to me coming to visit you in February on President's Day weekend, I did get my most recent paycheck from my job, and I should have enough money to pay for the airline ticket. So at this point, there should be no issue with me coming to spend a holiday weekend with you and your family. That's what we need to look for inside a building. Yes, that is correct. We found an injured soldier of the Immortal Flame and this fleeing citizen. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, I'm surprised she's not doing anything, but I guess she's elderly and can't really do much. I cannot thank you enough. I surely would have succumbed to my injuries had you not come along. You see, a nightmare of warmocking has set upon us out of nowhere, and my medical supplies were destroyed in the opening volley. Oh boy. I took a rather nasty hit myself, but it would have been a lot worse if this kind lady not had noticed the enemy approaching. I owe her my life.
It was nothing compared to the bravery you showed in rescuing me. If not for you, No, I shan't speak of it. It's too grisly a thought to put into words.
You've nothing to worry about now, I assure you. Please, allow me to escort you to Camp Broken Glass. Food and succor await. Yeah, you're in safe hands now. Join us, will you, Rika? The soldier who sent you here must be eager to hear of your exploits. I can do exactly that. And so, take the elderly lady away, and we will make our way back. But yeah, they do like to trick you with that by putting things at a higher elevation. Alright, Talon, we are all accounted for on these quests with you. It is good to see you among us again. Though I admit you're a little banged up from the escapade, you seemed to be in better health than I expected. When I first heard of your distress call, I feared we had lost you. And you would have, if it weren't for this woman's bravery and keen eyes. She warned me of the coming attack, granting me the wherewithal to avoid any fatal injuries.
I hardly did anything. I merely noticed something large moving about in the shadows of some debris. It must have been because of this third eye of mine.
So it is true what they say. The Guardians really do have heightened awareness. But well, my manners, you've had quite the trying day. Let us find you some food and a place where you might be able to relax. Yeah, the injured soldier here will help you to do that. And so, away they go. Ah, before you go, I would like to extend my gratitude to you as well, Rika. Your expediency proved to be the saving grace this day. And we're glad we could help, so we'll take our experience, 735 gil, and 2 portions of Glory Bee Soup, which is a mage food, which I kind of find confusing because Guardians do not have the ability to use magic themselves, so what are they doing making a magically inclined soup? Yeah, definitely need to scratch our heads on that one. Alright, so that's all taken care of. So we've actually met Kochacha before when we were doing a quest, so we'll be speaking with her again to take on our next quest entitled Ordnance Cleanup Committee. Many in the Heavensward contingent have been complaining of Imperials discarding perfectly good weaponry throughout the city.
Rika, may I bother you for a moment? I trust word has already reached you regarding the reclamation of the discarded weaponry.
Indeed it has. Or, I guess not. Yeah, I didn't notice myself shake my head.
No? Truly? Then it is good that you found me. As you are well aware, in accordance with the truce, the First Legion has laid down its arms. Unfortunately, its soldiers laid down those arms wherever they pleased, and now they're scattered all over the city. Should you stumble upon, or more likely trip upon, any of this aforementioned Imperial weaponry, we ask you reclaim it and return it to us post-haste. Please, gather up anything even vaguely useful looking, though you can probably draw the line at a plank with a nail through it. We already have enough of those.
Sure thing. That's funny. So, yeah, they're all in the Urbanissima, so let's go ahead and warp back to Tertium. Yeah, that was funny. Alright, away we go! And back out. So yeah, don't worry, we'll get to these guys eventually. You can only imagine how many things we're gonna have to take care of around here. Alright, into the city. We may have to maneuver our way around some stuff. Thankfully, it's not completely blocking. Yeah, as much rubble as there may be, it's not too adversely setting us back. Yeah, never mind the Colossus. Hey, Colossus, if you need something to do, use your giant sword to cut that car in half. Yeah, it's not like anyone's gonna be driving it. It's a write-off. So up and down we go, to and fro. Oh. Yeah, well, not quite. Yeah, more wrecked cars. Back underneath the overpass. And we'll soon make our way to where we need to be. Yeah, once again, heading all the way to the far end of the city to get to where we need to be. And being under attack. Alright, this time it is on. 1, 2, 3, stun you on the Magitech Ray, and then Dragonfire Dive. And then 1 and 2 Spine Shatters, followed by an Astron to finish you off. Can we add you to the discarded weaponry? Alright, let's look around. There is a way to jump into here, but there's nothing to speak of. Let's keep looking around. Going around, check under every nook and cranny, because you can be sure that we can easily walk past something. We could even get up here if we want to, but there's nothing of note. But still, it's nice to know. Oh, there's another discarded weapon. But we're under attack again. Oh. I guess he learned his lesson from his friend. Yeah, looks like a sword and shield, or a few swords and shields. Alright. Onward we go. Yeah, give it all you got. Make sure to avoid dealing with the bombs if we can. Loop around and make our way over to where we can find more discarded weapons. Oh yeah, we may have to deal with bombs after all. Yeah, I would think in a place like this where they're called Morzoko, I would have thought they would have been more known like Molotovs. They would have been referred to in that way. But let's head on up. And claim our last cache. Mission accomplished. Back to Broken Glass. Alright. So let's go ahead and turn this stuff over to little Kochacha. Alright, Kochacha, we're back.
Have you any discarded weaponry on your person?
Oh, we got lots.
Yes, that's just what we're looking for. Thank you for bringing it to us. It is said that each legion has its own unique weaponry, but to my eye, it is all much of a muchness. I suppose their similarities are owed to the fact that they were mass-produced in the Enkaladium. Perhaps when Garlemald still thought itself a republic and they first started employing rogues and mercenaries, they sought to diversify their armaments in the same way as their troops. Of course, later advances in technology made it possible to churn out all sorts of weaponry at an alarming rate. I wonder, if they had never discovered Machina, what would the Empire look like today? Makes one think, doesn't it?
And so we'll take our experience in 735 gil. So yeah, it's too bad though that we can't get to see Kochacha dance the cha-cha, as it were. Let's move on to yet another representative of a grand company who is also a Lalafell. We have Makago no Kago, and we'll take on his quest entitled Mama, She is in Rubble Deep. Flame Private Makago no Kago looks at you beseechingly as he winces against a child's shrill sobbing. Yeah, we can see that.
Please, a moment of your time! This poor girl, she's come all the way from the seat of the Empire. Alone, it would seem. I meant to ask about trouble with her, but she can't catch her breath for all her tears, let alone speak. I'm not accustomed to children and their handling. I can never say the right thing. But perhaps you will have more success in calming her than I. Could you try to soothe what other sorrow plagues her?
Yeah. Also, why you... Oh, you're kind of in a ready stance. You're probably waiting for something to come out of the woodwork and possibly attack us. So, yeah, let's see if we can't soothe this little girl. Calm her down somewhat. Where's our soothe? Here it is. Yeah, calm down, young lady.
Thank you. I feel a bit better now.
Yeah, can you tell us about what happened?
What am I doing here? Well, Mum said we might find some food at your camp. But on our way here, one of the buildings started to crumble and a big bit of the wall hit my mum, and she's still trapped under it. I have tried to pull her out, but please, she needs help! My word, you needn't worry, little one. Help is on the way! Rika, follow her to her mother. See if there's aught to be done. I will round up a few soldiers to assist you just in case.
Yeah, if we have to do a massive lift. Come on, young lady.
You mean it? You're really going to help me? She's just over this way, quickly.
Follow the little girl and try not to fall behind. So, get ready. Go. Run as fast and as far as your little legs will carry you. Granted though, it's a long way to get over to where Garlemald is. Yeah, I'm surprised we're not making it a point to go and just warp to Tertium and then rendezvous with her there. But now I guess we're having to do this old school. Although, yeah, given that I'm a fully grown adult, I'm easily outrunning her. Yeah, I'm easily outrunning her with not much effort. Careful not to get attacked by a bear, because I'll try to do the same. Yeah, just keep running. Don't look back. Better switch sides. Yeah, we don't want to see this poor girl getting hurt by bears or by wolves or anything. Ah, jeez. Yeah, not one, but two. Damn it, back off. Yeah, get on out of here. Cross the train tracks. Approaching the overpass. Oh, she fell over here. But this isn't a building, it's a piece of highway, but still. Yeah, this woman's leg is stuck under the rock. Yeah, how bad is this injury gonna be?
Such strength! Was that some sort of magic?
Nah, not quite.
Forgive me. I had begun to panic thinking I'd be trapped forever. Thanks to you, I can walk away with my life intact. I'm so proud of you, my little soldier. How brave you were to seek help as you did. You must have been so scared.
Well, at least she made it here.
I was, but that's when I met this real little soldier. Littler than me.
You think I'm littler than you?
And he asked this...
Oh, I see where he's going. I was like, I'm taller than you. Ah, yeah. Perhaps I should read the whole thing.
I was, but that's when I met this real little soldier. Littler than me even. And he asked this nice lady to help us. So that's what happened. We were at the station when they announced the truce, so I know that we're no longer at odds, but even so, I imagine it's difficult for some of you to see us as anything more than the enemy. Your contingent is kind indeed to take us in as you have. It's more than I expected, to be sure. I was prepared for something of a fight, in fact. But so long as my sweet one depends upon me, nothing shall stop me from making sure she's safe. We are survivors, come what may. We'll set out for your camp once more. Farewell, ma'am. You've my most heartfelt gratitude. And before I go, do give my thanks to that warrior my daughter spoke of, should you see him again.
You forgot Aura girls there, Tharia. They're also so small. Alright. Let's get back to Makago. Yeah, I'm sure he's awaiting the news of what happened. Hey, Makago. Yeah, he's no longer in battle stance as it were, or ready stance.
My men report that they've found both the mother and the child making their way here and have provided them the shelter and aid they require. I confess I was a little more than a bit surprised when the woman told me of your success in lifting the rubble. It sounded too tall a tale to be real even. But then I remembered who we're dealing with and felt foolish for doubting her. At any rate, they are safe and in our care now, all thanks to you.
And so we'll take our experience points, 815 gil, plus an 82 pewter ring. Alright. And So that leaves just one regular quest left here at Broken Glass for the time being. And it will come courtesy of this delegate of the Immortal Flames, provided I don't get photobombed by my chocobo. Let's go ahead and speak with him to take on his quest entitled, Put Your Plasma Where Your Mouth Is. A member of the Immortal Flames is looking for a hero brave enough to wield a mighty weapon and fell a colossus. You'll find no one better. If this isn't Rika, your timing is fortuitous. There is a request I would make of you, one on the more perilous side. Do enlighten me, please. As you know, we are working day and night to escort this city's residents to safety. Unfortunately, some Magitech Colossi seek to undermine our efforts, but to directly engage them would result in catastrophic collateral damage. Luckily, it need not come to that. Garland Ironworks has a product known as a Magitech Plasma Cannon. That means nothing to me, I confess, but word is, this creation of theirs is capable of stopping a war machina dead in its tracks. Sounds too good to be true, I know. Well, here's the rub. This silver bullet is a damn costly thing to develop, and they don't just want anyone handling it. Sid put your name forward, though. He thought you would acquit yourself well of this task. I know it is a deal to ask, but should you decide to aid us in our efforts, we will be waiting near the station. Alright, and I'll meet you there. Meanwhile, since we are not really getting this opportunity, it's actually opportunity for us to observe a sunset in Guardian territory. Because yeah, they obviously would get a ton of overcast and snowy days, just like they would in the Ishgard area and in Kerthus. Okay, so he's warped himself over to near where Tertium is, so we'll go and rendezvous with him there. Alright, go! So, up the ramp, and then we'll rendezvous with our crew. And just taking a moment to enjoy a rare Guardian sunset. But hey, it was worth it. Just like it is to enjoy a rare Kerthan sunset. Alright, we made it to the delegates. Your assistance is greatly appreciated, ma'am. I will distract the Colossi, allowing you ample time to take aim with your newly appointed weapon. If the engineers are to be believed, scoring a direct hit will send a powerful current through the giant systems and ultimately disable it. Alright, so we stay in here and then you go do your thing. Let's see if we can make our shot clean. Search your surroundings for the Magitech Colossi. You may move the camera as well as zoom in and out. Target the machina and disable it with R1 or A. The Colossi approach. Be warned that should the Immortal Flame Delegate retreat, your mission will be judged a failure. Strike 3 Magitech Colossi with your new weapon to silence them for good. Alright. Let's see how we do. Alright, this is an easy first shot. And then you're coming in from over here. Now where's the third? Over here. Yeah, he was actually turning his back. Yeah, he got scared what happened to his friend, so he was like, I don't want any part of this. Excellent shooting, Rika. Now those wretched machina have been dispatched, we will be able to deliver the citizens to safety, rather. Before I return to the station to join the escort, I shall send word to Camp Broken Glass of your success. My superior officer on Bag High will await you with your reward. I'll make sure of it. Yeah, that's always so funny that the enemy sees something bad's happening to their friends and is like, I'm not dirtying my hands with this. Alright, away we go. That would be some of our FC members having arrived at Amarat. Meanwhile, I'm back high. Good to have you among us again, Rika. I've heard of your triumph in taking down those behemoth war machina, and have prepared you a reward to commensurate with your efforts. That piece of artillery proved as effective as Garland Ironworks intimidated. But, such is to be expected, their craftsmanship is well renowned and their latest efforts redound to their credit. Alas, we were told not to expect more of its type, at least anytime soon. According to a letter we received, its crafting was only made possible through the work of a rather ambitious employee, and a mountain of gil. Production of it on a large scale will prove impossible. Expenses notwithstanding, you were able to wield this foreign ordnance with great aplomb. Though it is but a trifle compared to the valor shown, I offer you this as a show of gratitude. And so we'll take our experience, 995 gil, and 2 portions of Uka, a tank food. And so, now we only have the blue crust left to cover here at Camp Broken Glass. Alright, let's go ahead and start writing them off the list. Gala, since you're the closest one with the blue quest here, we'll take your quest on first. Let's go ahead and take a look at our quest, which will be a chain quest. But I expect all 3 of these will. Entitled, Stranded at the Station. Gala scans her surroundings. But for what? Or whom?
I've seen you before. In Tertium, yes? I was part of the first group transferred here. But there's someone I'm trying to find. A small boy. Red hair. Have you seen him?
I'm guessing you are a Garlean? Let's have a closer look. You are. Yeah. So, yeah, my suspicion was right.
He's probably still refusing to budge.
Yeah, perhaps I can help?
Oh, my apologies. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Gala, 1st Legion. I've been doing what I can for the refugees, though I suppose I'm one myself. You see, I've always tried to help those in need. Some call me a busybody, in fact. Before joining the military, I was a member of the Vigilis Ibani, and it was our duty to keep the citizenry safe. All habits die hard, though, which is why I'm determined to look after that lad. He's been separated from his parents in the chaos, but he won't leave the station without them. Thing is, that's no place for a child his age to be fending for himself. You've seen the conditions there. He needs food and warmth, which you and yours have been kind enough to offer. I should go back to the station and try persuading him to join your camp. Could I trouble you to accompany me? It'll do him good to see you're not the monsters he probably thinks you are.
Yeah, a little boy like that.
Thank you. Well then, no time like the present.
Yeah, a little boy like that, trained to think the way he has been. I don't blame him for being more reluctant than perhaps the adults. Alright, let's go. Yeah, I'm sure the person of interest will be in here somewhere, but we need to make our way up closer to the entrance. Alright, Gala.
If my prediction is correct, he should still be around here. His name's Volossus, but most know him better for his scarlet locks. Considering how reluctant he is to leave, I doubt he'd answer if we try calling out for him. Would you mind helping me look?
Okay then. Well, it seems like we'll be making this very straightforward to completing the first quest, but obviously there's more to come. So yeah, where will this little boy be? He's not on the cars. At least not this car. He's not in the locomotive, and I'm pretty sure he'll be spooked by that brain blood stain. So we find Volossus chilling out all the way over here in the back. Probably trying to hide from us.
Who are you?
Well, allow me to introduce myself and my new friend.
Volossus, we've been looking everywhere for you. Still refusing to join everyone at the other camp, I see. I'm not going anywhere. Not without Mom and Dad! Don't you see? It's for your own good.
Not without his parents, I guess. Yeah, also...
I know you. Came here with Julius, didn't you?
That's right.
Please, you've got to listen to me. Mom and Dad are alive, I know they are.
Maybe we can find them?
No one's saying they aren't. Sorry to burden you, but I have a feeling he'll be more cooperative once he's got this off of his chest. Hear him out, would you?
You got it. Yeah, tell us all. After we take our experience, 935 gil, a pewter bracelet, and another aether current unlocking. But yeah, let's hope it's not too late. So let's go ahead and speak with Colossus again to take on our next quest entitled Longing for Home. Colossus will not be moved. And probably shouldn't be moved to tears either.
Please help me find my parents. My mom's got red hair just like me and my dad. Colossus, you have to understand that there's little chance we'd find your parents even if we went looking for them. I do understand. That's why I'm waiting here. They promised to meet me at the station. I know it is too dangerous for me outside, but you two can fight, can't you? So please, please don't give up on them like everyone else.
Yeah, it won't hurt to look, will it? Or it's either this or Dragon while kicking and screaming. Yeah, we've used that term quite a bit.
I worry that we're only giving him false hope, but very well. After all, the least we can do is try. Thanks to my time in the Vigilis Urbani, I know the capital like the back of my hand. But between the two of us, we should be able to conduct a reasonably thorough search.
Alright.
Thank you so much! I can't wait to see them again! Let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is exactly what I was afraid of. To the task at hand then. Given the present state of the capital, tracing his parents' steps will be no easy feat.
Well, we'll do what we can. And so...
Colossus, do you know anything that might help us in our search? Well, I was thinking about going back to my house if it's still there.
Oh, it's not.
Where is that? Are there any landmarks nearby? It's on the outskirts of town to the south, between the tavern and the bookshop. Oh, and Dad always used to fly a huge imperial flag in front of our house. We were the only family that had one in our neighborhood. That should be enough to go on. Alright, let's get going.
You got it. And so away we go. Alright, let's get out of the station and make our way back into the city. Oh, also, for those of you who are wondering, the Starlight Celebration starts on Thursday and we will be streaming it. Yeah, people are breaking out their Starlight gear from years gone by. So it's really great to be seeing that happening once again. Although for those of you who are not familiar, All Saints Wake, the Halloween event, apparently is going to be happening next month. Because they were trying to put it in for its usual October slot because it was cancelled last year. But because of all the effort they were making towards Endwalker and getting it out, they decided that we're going to have Halloween in January this year. So yeah, that'll be something. Oh yeah, I showed that off in my Let's Play there, Tharia. Yeah, I came across that one very early on. Yeah, it looks like this may be the place they were talking about. Oh, nope, it's coming up right here. Do we spot the flag?
Well, we're in the right area. Remember, he said it was between a tavern and a bookshop, and that they had a large imperial flag in front of the house. Let me know the moment you find anything that might be useful, no matter how insignificant it may seem. Now, let's start our search.
And away we go. Yeah, between a tavern and a bookshop, huh? Yeah, since we can't really identify any of these buildings, figuring out what it's supposed to be will be a task in of itself. And we can't jump inside this house. But we can find some clues to get started. A piece of drenched paper that hasn't blown off. You find a leaflet amidst the rubble, apparently from a bookshop. The War on Ilstibard, now in stock. Don't miss this chance to own the masterpiece dedicated to Emperor Solus's achievements. Try searching elsewhere for a clue to Volus's parents' whereabouts and show anything promising to Gala. Yeah, gotta love those Asian propaganda pieces. Yeah, let's look around. See if we can find anything that may be useful. Come on. Yeah, where are the clues that we need? Well, it would help if I was in the circle. That would help. Yeah, now I'm just getting myself stuck on rubble. Yeah, let's keep looking around and see what we can find. Oh, hello there. Oh, hello there. Yeah, I didn't want it to come to this, but you leave me no choice. Yeah, I'll show you what I can do. I don't remember that at all there. Yeah, the people were sick that the child was trying to help out, the parents, but that's not how I remember it. I remember it primarily for the Scrooge, Lalafell that was in the quest. You find a letter amidst the rubble. It begins, "Dearest Velocis, I pray this message finds you well. Gala will be eager to inspect this potentially vital clue." How did you know she was gonna find it? Or I was gonna give it to her? Oh, no, that wasn't the case. No, I was reading that wrong. Like, how did they know I was gonna have Gala look at this thing?
Found something, have you? Let's have a look.
Here you go. There you are. Yeah, what do you make of it?
It's addressed to Velocis, and from his parents no less.
Are they still out there somewhere? Yeah, let's make a run back to where their house was. Sadly, the flag that was here is no longer.
And you said you found it nearby. It looks like someone tried to clear away the rubble, but then thought better of it. The place is far too exposed. His parents must have come back to see if their boy had returned home, and then left him this letter. Judging by the condition of the paper, it's safe to assume some time has passed since their visits. We're unlikely to bump into them simply waiting here. I'll write to reply just in case they return, but for now, let's head back to Velocis. Excellent work finding this.
And so, let's warp on back. Oop, no. Yeah, let's warp on back. Hang on, Colossus. Hang on, Velocis, we're coming.
Did you find anything?
Well, we have, actually. There's still a fighting chance.
Why, yes we did. A letter addressed to you from your parents, in fact. This is sure to help in our search, I knew it. Can I see it?
Yeah, take it to heart, young man.
This is addressed to me, but this isn't Mum or Dad's handwriting.
Wait, what?
Don't give up so easily, Velocus. Here, let me read it for you. I am injured, but am in... Do not worry about me. For now you must stay out of danger. Love, Vipsania. Unfortunately, it looks like the part detailing the location got wet at some point. It's completely illegible. Vipsania? That's Mum's name! Ah, so it is from her after all. There's a good chance she's still alive. I knew it! We're one step closer to finding her. In all honesty, I'm amazed we found anything. Thank you for convincing me that the search was worthwhile. It's clear to me as day now why your comrades have nothing but praise for you. With you on the case, we'll find his mother in no time.
And so we'll take our experience in 935 guild. Fair enough there, Thoria. So now let's pass things over back to Gala again, to take on her quest entitled Palatial Possibilities. Gaius, or Gaius. So many names blur into each other and blend into each other, it's easy to mistake one for another. Gala is on a mission to find a mother.
Until now, I thought that the best thing we could do for Velocus is take him straight to Camp Broken Glass. But with the new information that has come to light, perhaps it is better for him to wait here a little longer, at least while we search for his parents. I appreciate you looking for them, I really do. If you're going to thank anyone, thank Rika for changing my mind. Right, let's go over what we've learned from the letter. Vipsania is injured, but in a safe location. Velocus says it's not his parents' handwriting, which means she must be with another person entirely, someone she could ask to write letters in his stead, or at least that's what I make of it. Do you know where she might go in a time of emergency? Maybe Palatium Novum? She wasn't made there. The last time I saw her, she was on her way there, even with all the fighting she had lots to do. She told me keep listening to the radio, in case there was any news about the war. If anything really bad happened, we were to meet here at the station. So the radio kept you from harm, and thanks to her forethought, you were able to find shelter immediately after the city descended into chaos. Your mother's a clever woman indeed, but I wonder, why hasn't she made her way here? She worked at Palatium Novum, Titus and Nerva's residence. Perhaps when she learned the station was held by their enemies, the First Legion, she may have thought against coming here. Even with the war effectively over, she may have been suspected as a spy or the like. So, any thoughts on the matter?
She must be associates of the royal family, or his mother's probably in Palatium Novum. Well, why don't we put this as a possibility?
Indeed, that explains why she told Velocus not to worry about her and think only of his own safety. At any rate, let us make our way to Palatium Novum and see what we can find.
Yeah, and the same can also be said for Rogadin names too. There are a lot of similar sounding Rogadin names because they all have the same set of a few syllables at the end of their names. Like on female Rogadin, you'll find Wib or Swiss as the final syllable. As an example, and of course, there's the male names as well. Yeah, they also have the similar last name syllables too. Alright, we'll weave our way through the city and see if we can't return to Palatium Novum. Or Palatium Novum, or however it's pronounced. It could very well be the latter. It could very well be the former. I don't know. No one has officially said it yet in game, so therefore, I'm just winging it. So yeah, we're approaching our destination. And being chased by a Colossus. Alright, around the corner. Go up the stairs. Go up these stairs. And yeah, we found Gala. But it looks like we also found Danger.
Well, this is it, Palladium Novum. A far cry from its former glory, but relatively untouched compared to some parts of the capital. It was built to the last, so the lower floors ought to provide adequate refuge. However, there are countless Magitech drones patrolling the perimeter, attacking any who approach. That would explain why those inside have been unable to seek shelter elsewhere. How ironic that the very Machina that once protected Golemold are now one of the greatest threats to her people. But now is not the time for such musings. I know the interior well enough that I should be able to locate any survivors fairly quickly. Could you keep the Magitech drones away while I'm inside?
Sure I can.
I'll be back as soon as I finish my search. In the meantime, take care.
And so in you go. Yeah, and I imagine that's what this female Aurora just fought. We will be fighting in just a moment. But let me summon my Chocobo again. Alright, let's have at it. Well, we have a searching rotor to start. Oh, that person's probably trying to level up an alt job. Because yeah, the ones we are fighting are at 84. They were fighting rotors that were at level 80. So yeah, obviously it'll be leveled down to that person's job level. So now that we're taking care of the riffraff, what did you find?
Judging by the din outside, you encountered some trouble. You have my thanks. Unfortunately, I saw no sign of the royal family or Vipsania in there, or anyone at all for that matter. That said, it wasn't a complete waste of time. It looked like people had been living in there until fairly recently. There was a radio in there too, one of the newer models, so I imagine they avoided being tempered. It appears they've taken all the provisions and warm clothing with them, which indicates they had plenty of time to plan their exits. I did, however, spot a map of the capital, on which they mark a route from here to the Seneculum Imperialis. You see where this is leading, yes?
Oh, I don't even know where that is. Oh yeah, Vipsania fled with the royal family?
Precisely. It's hard to imagine Vipsania parting with the royal family at this point, which means she must have accompanied them on their journey. Judging by the condition of the rooms inside, I would say only a few days have passed at their most since their departure. When you're ready, let's head to the Seneculum Imperialis and continue our search.
Alright. And we'll do that after we take our experience in 935 gil. Alright, let's go ahead and move on and speak with Gala once again to take on the last part of this chain quest entitled Mum is the Word. Gala senses your search is nearing an end.
Ready, I take it? Then let's resume our search. We'll be heading to the Seneculum Imperialis, that enormous stone building to the northwest. Hopefully that's where we'll find Vipsania.
And hopefully not a moment too soon. Let's be on our way! Yeah, we'll probably have to drive through the Palladium in order to get to where we need to go. And emerge out on the other side. Alright, we're off. Yeah, we'll have to avoid the fallen buildings, of course. Yeah, I can't wait to see this place get the Doma treatment or the Ishgardian firmament treatment. It'll be amazing to see what this place looks like when we get it back on and intact. As much as I would love to do the Fate, we're just gonna ignore that. Even though it does give it a random experience bonus. Alright, Gala. Oh, who do we find?
He bears the insignia of the Royal Guard. Only the most proficient and experienced warriors are accepted into their ranks. Alas, he is no longer among the living, though evidently he has only been here a short while. What could have happened here?
Hopefully nothing to do with those guys.
Ah! That came from nearby, come on!
Yeah, hurry Gala, hurry! Also my sincere condolences to you, sir. Alright, let's get going. Search the area, aid anyone who might be injured, like this royal bodyguard. Excuse me, sir. Yeah, you crashed out of your Magitech armor, it seems. I have no idea who you are, but I owe you a great debt. There's a wounded woman over there by the name of Ipsonia. Please tend to her as well. Don't mind if I do. Yeah, she's gonna be really close to danger here. Yeah. Overtuned specimens? Yeah, not the least bit disturbingly creepy. Yeah, dealing with these tech dyes. Take this. Yeah, accept the pain and suffering that we bring. And as for you, Vipsania, yeah, you're lucky I didn't bring that over here. Yeah, let me give you a hug there, young lady.
I see you're not one of them, but who are you?
Let me introduce myself.
Just when I was about to lose all hope, you appear.
Yeah, so I gotta tell you about your son. And meanwhile, Gala arrives with someone else. Oh, I imagine who this might be.
We managed to put down the last of them. I still can't believe you're here at my son's request. You should be proud. Were it not for him, we might have never have found you. I'm sure he'll be eager to express his gratitude to this gentleman here. Yes, he and I both served the royal family, at least until the city was plunged into chaos. I was badly injured and he's been by my side ever since. While I was still recovering, he even penned letters for me and placed them in the ruins of my home for my loved ones to find.
Your praise is wasted on me, truly. After all, I and my comrades stopped you from going to meet your family at the First Legion's encampment for your own selfish reasons. Or for our own selfish reasons. Even then even the Sinaculum Imperialis, our supposed safe haven, was attacked by rampaging Magitech. I shall never live down the shame of failing to protect the members of the royal household in my care. But thanks to you both, I have been spared an untimely end. Pray accept my deepest gratitude. I believe we can do that.
We're glad to help, and for what it's worth, I'm sure my comrades in the First would rather let bygones be bygones than perpetuate old grudges. The two of you must come with us to Tertium. That goes double for you, Vipsania. Your son will be overjoyed to see you again. And I him. We've been apart for far too long. Then let's waste no more time here. We better not rush given your injuries.
Yeah, we'll have to be careful about that. So thank you for the bow. So, yeah, where's the dad? Yeah, it seems like we might not ever find him. Alright, back on over. Hey Velocis, we're back.
Did you find her?
Oh, we certainly did. Yeah, it's time for you to be reunited. Yeah, here she comes. Yeah, go and be with her.
Mom! I'm so sorry, my love.
We'll talk all about it as we have these two reunited.
I simply have to know, why did you leave Palatium Novum?
We both served the kin of Lord Nerva, so it was decided we would join the 3rd Legion in the Sinaculum Imperialis. But as soon as we set foot outside, the streets were overrun by soldiers in the throes of madness, and Magitech drones attacking anyone who dared cross their path. It's a miracle we even managed to escape. We eventually made it to the Sinaculum Imperialis and hid inside, though it didn't take long for the Machina to find us. You stepped in just when we had begun to abandon hope.
Looks like we arrived in the nick of time.
Indeed we did.
To be separated from my dear boy was more than I could bear, but I knew that even without my injuries, I wouldn't stand a chance out there on my own. But we're together now, aren't we? That's all that matters. And it's all thanks to you.
Seeing their smiles has made it all worthwhile. All that ends well. Nah, let's go with a really good way of saying it.
She's right. We'll never forget what you've done for us. You truly are a hero.
Glad I could help. See, as the two are reunited, hopefully she knows where the dad is.
This reminds me of why I joined the Vigilis Sibani all those years ago. It's true what they say. A good deed really is its own reward.
Indeed it is.
Anyway, we best stay here a while to allow Vipsania time to recuperate. She's still injured after all. Then we can head to Camp Broken Glass.
Yeah, go get your wounds tended and then be on your way. So we'll take our experience 935 gil plus our choice of food. We can take the Alami kebab, the king crab cake, the uka, or the borscht, which is another DPS food. So yeah, even though it would be a good idea to take the borscht as well, we'll take more crab cakes. Alright. Mission accomplished here, so let's go deal with more blue quests. Alright, we have returned. Let's see who's next to help. Let's go ahead and speak with the Commissary Officer here. And we'll go and take on her quest entitled Best Delivered Cold. The Commissary Officer has her hands full and is in need of an extra pair.
Well, well now, here's a sight that warms the heart. I never thought I'd have the honor to meet a hero of your pedigree, let alone beg for your aid. You see, I've got a shipment of supplies to send down to Tappa's Den, and having someone who knows the lay of the land by my side will go a long way to ensure safe delivery. I'd defend it myself, but I'd have to carry the bloody thing. If you'd be so kind as to escort me, I'll assure you I'll make it worth your while.
Alright then.
Well then, I'll be waiting outside the gates of the camp. Come meet me when you're ready, but don't take too long. Monsters abound in these parts.
Oh, there's an alternate ending? Oh, that's news to me. Unless it's one of those, it's one half of the other, blue chain quests that when they are all completed and they come together, you get one final quest to do that completes the story. So yeah, let's speak with the officer.
There you are. I knew you'd have the heart to help a soul in need.
The commissary officer is now accompanying you. Keep her at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. You can leave the commissary officer behind. Yeah, we've seen and read all that crap. Let's go. Out into the wilderness we go. Yeah, her and her heavy backpack. Complete with the rolling bed there. Yeah, are we sure we don't have a gleaner running alongside us? Yeah, I think you're a long way away from Charlian, young lady. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and run over here to check out the quest bubble. Discuss the Magna Glackies.
It'll be some time yet before we've mapped the entirety of this vast expanse. It stretches north as far as the eye can see, unhospitable to even the hardiest of explorers. It's a wonder that the Guardians survived at all, let alone went on to form the Empire. Seeing the Magna Glackies with my own eyes, however, I've gained some understanding of their disposition.
Alright, and so off we go again. Yeah, we've seen those blue chain combined quests back in Shadowbringers quite a few times, actually. So as we prepare to hit the lake, what do you have to say next?
This is only hearsay, but I've been told those masses are formed when cerulean bolts burst from the earth and comes into contact with the surrounding water, freezing instantly and capturing that moment of violence forevermore. The water mixed in it prevents the cerulean from being set aflame, so we can't use it as fuel without refinement. The amount of cerulean you get after all that work is barely worth the trouble.
Well, not so much so that they don't have it coming in by pipeline.
Pure cerulean is wrested straight from the earth. That's what those rigs you see off in the distance are doing, or so I've heard.
Alright, away we go again. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Also, the quest objective is over here. Yeah, don't worry, I'll protect you. Alright, we made it.
Here we are, safe and sound. I couldn't have done it without you, friend. Now all that's left is to deliver the goods. Let's enter those caves and get some shelter from the freezing winds, eh?
Good idea. Alright, let's head on inside. And see what we come across. Oh, it's these guys again. Yeah, we're back.
Well, the goods have been safely delivered, but I'm afraid I have one more task to beg of you. Of course, I'd do it myself if I could, but I'm afraid this calls for someone with the skills that I lack. You're not obligated to help me again, but seeing as how you're already here, maybe you won't mind hearing me out?
Of course, I'll stick around. So we'll take our experience 815 gil and another Aether Currents. And so, since we're in the neighborhood, let's go ahead and speak with the commissary officer again to take on the next quest entitled Armored Up. The commissary officer is pleased to see you willing to help once more.
So you found it within your heart to help an old friend once again, eh? Rest assured I won't soon forget your generosity. Now, on to the matter at hand. The people here have told me about the Magitech weaponry stalking the frozen tundra. With no pilots to guide them, they unleash their fury upon whosoever is unfortunate enough to cross their path. Several of the refugees attempted to combat the threat using a few abandoned suits of Magitech armor, but they were soon overwhelmed. It's not often you see Magitech turn on Magitech, but not much surprises me these days. Luckily, no one was killed during that incident, but the minus machines are still out there, primed and ready for their next target. This is where you come in. The stories say you're a demon in Magitech armor, and I reckon you'd reduce those things into piles of scrap before I even felt the chill in my fingertips. Like I said before, I do it myself, but seeing as how I've never ridden in a suit of armor, I'd just be buying myself a ticket to an early grave. Rest assured, however, that I'll do my best to learn from your example. Anyway, there's a seat waiting for us outside. I'll go ahead and ready for it for you. Don't leave me waiting out in the cold for too long.
Alright, let's do it. Yeah, it's been a while since we've taken a ride in a suit of Magitech armor. Yeah, here's one fresh off the line.
Well, she's as ready as she'll ever be. I don't think I need to tell you this, but make sure not to bring those things near the cave. I'll stand watch from here to make sure all goes to plan. Stay safe out there, friend.
Alright, we gotta go find 2 drones to destroy. Yeah, there's that music we're so accustomed to when riding in Magitech armor in this game. Who wants it first? Okay, you stun. Alright. Oh, and there's 4 of you. Alright, I did not notice that we have a quartet on our hands. Not only that, but we're also getting hit pretty hard. And there's quite a bit of cooldown on these things. Okay, 1 to go. And you're down. All clear over here. Moving on to the other set. Yeah, it's not quite as impressive as the Magitech armor we use in the Praetorium, but it's still cool to use. There's some Yetis over there. As we get closer to the pipeline. Yeah, jump up, jump down, and let's see what else we can do. Alright. Yeah, hit you with an early shot. Yeah, hit you with an early warning shot and then do it all again. Give it all you got. Fire! And then stun you again. And then more cannons. Go! Alright, 1 of you is out. And the thunder takes out the rest of you. Let's head on back. Yeah, let's rock out in this thing. Take it across the snow. Try and figure out how it doesn't rust in it. Yeah, coming from a cold place like this, you would think that this stuff would rust in a heartbeat. But not so. So let's march it right on back. Alright there, officer. Oh, gotta dismount.
There you are, safe and sound. See, I knew you'd make quick work of those heaps of metal. Doubtless they were used to deadly effect when the Guardians waged war amongst themselves. In order to ensure that they fight upon their own countrymen, they were made to destroy anything that came within their sights. The fact that they're causing trouble this far out is distressing indeed. I must warn my superiors upon my return. Before that, however, there is yet one more task I would ask of you. I fear I might be imposing over much, but you have my word that this is the last one.
We'll hold you to it. We'll take experience, 815 gil, plus a pewter earring. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the officer's next quest entitled A Dream of Home. The commissary officer would seek out the opinions of the refugees.
One final task and I won't bother you any longer. You needn't fight anything, at least not if you don't want to. No, this time I mean to make use of your more diplomatic faculties. Alright, one of my duties here is to find out whether the refugees wish to return home or not. Naturally, each will have their own decision, and their own reasons, but getting a general feel for things will help us determine the best way to help in the days ahead. I'll gather what information I can from the people in the caves. You only have to speak with one man, but it may take a bit of work to find him. I've been told he ventured off toward the wreckage of the Imperial train. Now if we could wait for him to return, but I'm running behind as it is. If you could do this, you'd be helping not only me, but all those who've been left without a home.
Alright. So yeah, I imagine it'd probably be faster to head back to Tertium to do this. I actually like the fact that the standard Magitech armor theme is not something you would expect to hear coming from a death machine created by the Guardian Empire. But yeah, I guess if you want a real, much closer experience, you would want to have the gilded Magitech armor that you get after getting a certain number of commendations. 500 if I remember correctly. Alright, outside we go. I think he's still trying to recover from the fact that he and Alice were having their lives at the tip of an electric shock collar. Yeah, out in the field we go, with it snowing here in Garlemald and in the surrounding area. Yeah, we're seeing quite a few things out here that could hurt you other than Magitech armor. And damn, we've seen massive craters like that before over in Girabanya. Yeah, looks like we're coming up on the wreckage of the train. Where will we find this person? He'd be hiding around the corner, perhaps. The answer is yes. Yeah, this little spot over here. Oh, it's not often I encounter someone else out here. If you've come here for ceruleum, then I'm afraid this area has already been picked clean. Actually, that's not why we're here. I'm here to ask you if you want to return to your homeland or if you wish to leave Garlemald. Well, either way, I imagine we'll get the same response. I mean, you must have a family, surely. Joke has already asked me as much, but I suppose you must be thorough. Could you give me a moment? I would first like to offer a prayer to the departed. Yeah, something you could definitely not do when you're representing the Garleans. This wreckage was left in the wake of one particularly fierce battle. A dear friend of mine journeyed here to search it for abandoned supplies, but a sudden explosion cut his life short. Although I had meant to offer him a lone prayer, why don't you join me? He always was one to enjoy the company of others, even though he scarcely knew. I've placed these stones to mark the spot of his passing. Pray to his memory, if you will. I can do that for you. As we look at this cairn of stones, yeah, I'll have to offer our condolences. Thank you. Whatever sustenance prayers provide those who have passed, I am sure my friend is grateful for it. As for your previous question, well, I am Alamegan by birth, and was taken from my home and from my family by the Empire, and made to serve in their interminable wars. After 10 years, my hands were so stained with blood I no longer recognized them as my own. Days, weeks, years blended into one another until finally I was released from service. For the first time in a long while, I thought for myself, also, they could be released from service? Even though they are from other territories? I'm surprised they wouldn't want you for life to make sure you didn't make any attempt to run. Did my wife and child still live? Would they allow one so steeped in sin back into their home? Even now I cannot bring myself to consider the answers to those questions. So, in short, I cannot say. Please, leave me with my thoughts. I won't be far behind, I promise. Alright, and so the commissary officer will be back over there, so let's make our way back. It's a long way to go with no aetheryte, but might as well get to where we need to be. Alright. Yeah, we're passing by a fade over here on the right. Oh, jeez. Gross. Not for the faint of heart, I assure you. And there goes a snowman from last year's Starlight Celebration running by. And so we'll just weave our way around and get to where we need to go. So, back on into the cave here, and we'll once again speak with the commissary officer. And the 3 people who are still here.
There you are, and even sooner than I had anticipated. What did the man say?
And also there's more than 3 people. Just with the shadows of the cave, it's hard to see everyone else.
I see. Such a tragic story, but sadly not an uncommon one. It seems that for some, the question of where home lies has no easy answer. In any case, we've done all that we can at present. Let's return to the camp and report our findings to the contingent, eh?
And so, back we go. Yeah, hang in there, everyone. Okay, well, we'll head on over to the commissary officer.
I've gone to the trouble of submitting my report already, so you needn't worry about that. And, as I promised, that brings an end to my endless requests.
Alright then.
Truth be told, my motivations for being here aren't entirely out of a sense of duty. My father was conscripted into the Guardian forces long ago, so when I heard that refugees had been found here, I had to meet them for myself. I volunteered for this duty, but unfortunately none of the refugees stirred my memories of him. Still, I won't give up the search. No matter what misdeeds he was forced to commit, all I want is to see him again, to share a meal under the same roof. Some, like Jarek, seem resigned to accept this place as their home, but there are others like my father who are people waiting for them, searching for them. If I can even see one family reunited, then all of this will have been worth it. Although the road ahead is a long one, it's time I stop forcing you to walk it with me. Thank you for all you've done, friend. Please take this. You've earned it 1,000 times over.
And we're glad we could help, so we'll take our experience in 895 gil. And away she goes. Also looks like some people have already taken a shine to the Guardian's winter looks. So, now that we've taken care of that, let's make our way over here to the last blue quest available here in Camp Broken Glass. So we'll make our way over here to speak with Reborn, who appears to be representing the Skysteel Manufactory. Let's go ahead and speak with him to take on his chain quest, entitled In Pursuit of Power, blocked out by a chocobo. Reborn would like your opinion on something. Ah, just who I was looking for. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Reborn of Ishgard. I've been put in charge of our arrangement with Tapper's Den, you see. However, the first of the Tappers to come bearing ceruleum has asked quite a lot of us, if I do say so. They wish for our help in getting Juturna Platform G up and running. The very same platform that's at the head of the Imperial's primary energy pipeline. What's more, he's a Guardian. I was convinced the only engineers left in Tapper's Den were from conquered territories. In any case, I'm not qualified to judge the motives of the man. I'd feel much more at ease if I had someone of your experience helping to make the call. Alright then. I thank you for your willingness to assist. Let us go and speak with the Tapper in question then. He's a man by the name of Appius. Alright then. Let's go and meet up with him. Actually, it turns out he's closer than we thought. Yeah, we're heading around the corner here. I suppose you must be the friend Rimmel wanted to fetch. Indeed I am. And so, you have my thanks for getting him to agree to my proposal. Do not misunderstand. I have yet to agree to any such thing. I merely wanted someone else present during our talk. To make sure that everything is fair? Very well. Though I do believe my proffered deal would be a boon to us, and the Ulsterbard contingent alike. I used to work on Juturna Platform G, you see, so I know more than most about the facility and its operation. That may be so, but your relationship to the facility notwithstanding, why should a Guardian such as yourself still be taking refuge in Tappa's den? We've been led to believe that the former workers residing there were from other territories. You're right on the technicality. I was a supervisor rather than your typical staff. When the platform went down, it only seemed right that I stay with my crew. I always thought we were close, but living alongside them at Tappa's den has made me realise that I took them and their skills for granted. And that's to say nothing of the blind eye I turned to their struggles. Well, considering how you look down on them. That's why I came to you. It's high time I be of some real use to them, and everyone else if we're lucky. Alright. If we're to manage to get the platform back in working order, it'll dramatically increase our capacity pump and refine ceruleum for everyone in the region. Sadly, we're more than a few hands short of a full workforce, not to mention the lack of supplies. Which is precisely where you come in. Help us get things up and running again, and you'll have your share of the ceruleum coming out of the rig. You couldn't come up with a more mutually beneficial agreement if you tried. So he says, what do you think? I think we should do it. He seems trustworthy to me, or I'm a little uneasy about this. Well, what other choice do we have? And if he steps out of line, I know how to deal with him. Yes, I've been leaning the same way myself. Ultimately, what he says about the potential benefits is true. Nevertheless, I doubt the higher-ups would assent to this. I suppose that is how it goes when you're dealing with military types. For what it's worth, I do understand the hesitancy to throw your lord in with someone from a hostile nation. Thus, part 2 my proposal. I shall do you a service to prove myself worthy of the contingent's trust. I had a look around the fringes of your camp here before you arrived, and I spotted a few ceruleum engines in need of repair. If I fixed them up, your superiors would have no reason to suspect that I want to see you driven out. Or less reason in any case. Assisting us with use of the local technology would go a long way, I'd imagine. That said, I've not heard anything about the ceruleum engines we've scavenged breaking down. It's not as if they're entirely useless, yet, but I'll guarantee they're not running as they should. Give me the opportunity and I can have them working more efficiently and safely. You are welcome to accompany while I do so. That way you can ensure that I don't get up to anything suspect, and they'll vouch for me with your superiors. I have no objections. I trust you will sense anything amiss. Alright then. Let us begin with a proper inspection then. We can get to work as soon as you're ready, Rika. And so away we go. And bonjour, Olivier! Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you with us. I'm glad to see you took me up on my offer, and it's glad to see you here in the crowd. Welcome aboard, mon ami. Bonjour. Alright, Appius. Though the ultimate objective is to get the engines running at full capacity, the purpose of this inspection is to work out what parts we'll need. However, I would hate to fumble something and be accused of sabotage, so I'd appreciate it if you be the one to lay hands on the devices. Never fear, I'll be right behind you telling you what to look for. If we inspect, say, 3 of them, we should have a decent idea of what needs repair. Lead the way. Appius is now accompanying you. Keep him at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. Alright. So thankfully everything is in close proximity. So yeah, we might need to scan around the outside to see if anything needs to be taken care of on the perimeter. We'll just want to keep it in mind, because that usually is where many of the parts of a quest objective are. Yeah, let's see if we can find any of these things. Turns out they're not as easy to find as I hoped. Maybe out closer routes, maybe? No. Or further out, rather. Oh, hold on. I see something glowing. Yeah, let's head on over to the Cerulean engine. We gotta find 2 more after this. Oh, he's not gonna give us his expert's analysis? Yeah, I was expecting that he would. Oh, there's another one all the way over there. Yeah, there's another one all the way over there, and then it'll be interesting to see where the 3rd one is. Alright, have a look. And then finally, where is the 3rd one? Oh, it's in the building. Okay, I wouldn't have expected they would have put a cerulean engine in a building. I mean, if this thing was still full of fuel, what happened if it would explode? That'd be pretty dangerous. Praise be to your depth's hands. I have an idea of what our next step ought to be, though perhaps it would be best to apprise Reborn of our progress first. So yeah, how are you and Frank doing there, Olivier? I know you went to go team up with one of your friends with one of his FCs, but how have you guys been doing in the time since you left, as we speak with Reborn? How are our engines? Alas, I fear that each of those we examined are guaranteed to break down sooner or later should you continue using them in their current state. Surely you jest! I swear to my integrity as an engineer, you are in dire need of instruction in the proper operation of cerulean engines. You saw the little lamp light up when you touched the switch, correct? That only illuminates when there's an issue with the engine. They were switched off for want of fuel when the settlement was abandoned, no doubt, which prevented them burning out. Only let them freeze solid instead ere your lot turned them on. From the state they're in, I can only assume it didn't occur to you to warm them up first. Well, this is still all over our heads. I noticed you have heating technology of your own, but it'll do you no good should the engines to power them break now, will it? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain from my assistance. I am a machinist from Frozen Climes myself, and what you say sounds plausible enough. Very well. On behalf of the comp, I formally ask you to repair the cerulean engines. I suppose that means I will be taking responsibility if anything goes wrong, so you may as well use your own 2 hands this time. That's the spirit. I knew you'd come around. And so we'll take our experience 935 gil and another Aether Currents. Oh, that's a great combination to have. It'll definitely get you far, I'm sure. So, let's speak with Reborn again to take on our next quest entitled Camp Broken Engines. Reborn perhaps requires some thawing. Ere you become more excited, you will indeed require additional parts to perform your repairs. I cannot say I spotted any likely spares while setting up the camp. Oh, it's so good to have a quick-thinking machinist like yourself on my side. No amount of flattery will convince me to take you to my superiors ere we have physical proof of your good intentions. Now focus, please. All spare parts required, yes or no? Yes, you're awfully tense about the shoulders, did you know that? I will be needing a replacement carburetor for one of the engines. Fortunately, the same sort of engines were in use at Motoring Station G last I checked. We ought to be able to find what we need here. After I've swapped out the faulty part and made my other repairs, I'll warm up the engines properly. That should clear any cerulean residue and allow them to run at full capacity once more. With that in mind, I'm going to start taking things apart. Can you fetch the carburetor for me? Do you even know what a carburetor is? Apparently I do. She's a bona fide hero, you know. You can't just ask her to do your bidding, and rudely at that. Oh, come on. I live for this. Yeah, No idea, believe it to me, or I'm used to being ordered around. If you're certain, you will need to look for a sort of tube connected to the cerulean engine's core. Many Magitech devices utilize them. Alright then, let's go and find what we're looking for. Let's do this. Yeah, and of course, Olivier, oh, you're in the middle of Q yourself right now. It's surprising, even though I started the Let's Play on Tuesday, the longest queue count I ever had to wait for to get in was 3,481, and that was on day 1. Official launch day, day 1. After that, the queues I had in the subsequent days were were around 2,500. Alright, let's go ahead and look for Cerulean Engine. Here we are. So let's see if we can find the carburetor. The so-called carburetor appears to have seen better days. Perhaps this another cerulean engine has a nicer one. Oh, we still are looking around the building. Maybe over here we'll find a better one. Let's see what this one has. It's also no good. Yeah, where could we find the one that we really need? Oh, hold on there. Wait a minute, didn't we just look at this one? No, this one is different. So yeah, we're looking and looking. This carburetor appears to be intact. Appius will know for certain. Alright, let's head on back to the camp. And of course, Olivier, you and your friends are always welcome here. Yeah, remember that you and your friends are always welcome. You, Frank, and all of your friends. Hey there, Appius. And not a moment too soon. Were you able to find an intact carburetor? Indeed. Is this it? This'll do it. Now Romanone and I can finish fixing up those engines in no time at all. And so, sometime later, as they do their various tinkering, looks like we're good to go. There, everything's in order. These should be much more efficient, and you'll notice they stopped making strange and ominous noises. I must say, I am taken aback by your abundance of skill. Allow me to thank you on behalf of everyone here at Camp Broken Glass. Oh, the pleasure's all mine. Happy to be of service. You do seem genuine about that. Tell me, do you have some sort of connection to Camp Broken Glass? In a way, I hail from the Terram as it happens. It was a village here, precisely where your camp is now. It acted as a checkpoint for those visiting the capital, but it was also home to the rig's workers and our families. Obviously much has happened since I could last call this place home, but in my heart of hearts it always will be. I must apologize, we're effectively occupying your home, yet place the full burden of proving good faith in our dealings upon you. Oh no, I couldn't blame you for that. We hardly had a viable alternative to abandoning Laterum, knowing we could never defend ourselves against wandering bands of maddened soldiers, but that reality is no more your fault than ours. Even if you vacated right this instant, I doubt many of us would return. We simply don't have the resources. Until Juturna Platform G is back in working order, that is. Truth be told, your presence here is what has me daring to hope. If you agree to help me now, there may come a day when the other survivors and I can come home. fury above, I certainly can't turn you away now, and you've proven yourself with your work this day. I have no lingering qualms about approaching my superiors with your proposal. Truly? Oh, I could kiss you! Please don't. So we'll take our experience in 935 gil. And so, yeah. Since this is a chain quest, we are moving on to Reborn, but that side quest was enough to get me to level 85. Yeah, we continue to maintain a buffer. And it's still at 2 levels. So let's go ahead and speak with Reborn again to take on our next quest entitled Operation Reactivation. Reborn is now surprisingly keen to get the platform up and running. If there are no objections, I will speak to the quartermaster about getting the necessary men and supplies for this operation straight away. He's stationed just over there in the pavilion. Could I trouble you to accompany me? It might help if another can testify to Appius' sincerity and competence. Great idea. What are we waiting for? Yeah, he's certainly eager. One would think he didn't have a care in the world. Let us pray that Astelo is amused rather than irritated. Alright, let's go and reunite with them. And meet with this Astelo. Representing the Twin Adder, apparently. Oh, Reborn, I see you brought Mistress Sasaki, and is that the envoy from Toppa's Den? Yes. You see, sir, it all began with Appius here. Yeah, let's go into further detail about it. I see. It certainly would be a boon to us if the platform was restored to working order. Well, I did show off the intro to the stage yesterday afternoon there, Tharia. If you want to check that out from stream, I do have it available in a highlight now. No doubt. So, you agree to help? On one condition. You must first confirm that the platform can be reactivated. We aren't blessed with a surfeit of personnel and resources, you know. Thus, are reaching out to the tappers to begin with. We cannot waste time and manpower on operations with little chance of success. Reborn, you are tasked with assessing the current state of Juturna Platform G, as well as the precise resources we would need to commit to reactivating it. I shall make my final decision on how to proceed only once I am fully abreast of the situation. Yes, sir. In that case, Rika and I will accompany you. You really ought to stop making decisions on Rika's behalf, but I would be glad for the company. Meet us at Juturna Platform G if you would. Appius can help me carry the equipment. Alright, I'll see you there. Don't worry, I'll keep him safe there as the low. Although I do have to say, even though you have an Elizin name, you're actually a hewer. Rather odd. Anyway, off we go. Yeah, Juturna Platform G, just beyond where the cave was that we found all those refugees. Yeah, down we go in order to get to where that location is. So obviously, we're going to be jumping up onto the pipeline here. It's quite a bit of a ways up, but we'll get there soon. And people are starting to get into mining and botany in this area too. Yeah, I have to say, for what it's worth, how they've changed mining and botany. I'm actually glad with the changes. You can no longer harvest high-quality items out in the field, which is a shame because, yeah, that really made things more interesting when you're doing crafting, so it could very well make crafting more challenging as a result. But I am looking forward to doing what I can once I actually can put some time away to get back to doing crafting. And suffice it to say, it was quite the experience to get Rika to be my first all 80s crafter. Yeah. The pandemic was good for something, if not for me at least. Hey, Appius. Oh, I so do miss the days when we had a full crew, pumping and tankering and operating heavy machinery on too little sleep. As much as I would like to know what in the hell's you're on about, we have no time to be revisiting old memories. We're here for one reason and one reason only. Oh no, I know. At least the exterior seems unharmed. I'll head inside and have a look around. Can you two stay here and make sure nothing large and hungry is waiting for me when I come back? That sounds reasonable. Rika, let us keep our wits about us. Excellent. I'll see you both in a bit. And away they go. So yeah, we'll just chill out because this is also the endpoint for the quest. So yeah, this one's gonna go by rather quickly. Oh, I thought you were asking about how Sage works. Ah, Appius, how did it look? The equipment appears undamaged. The temperatures are so low that we'll need to be careful about how we turn everything on again. It's just... What? Is there another issue? In a word, yes. I couldn't find the identification key. Without it, there's no way to activate the platform even if it were in pristine condition. And exactly why was it designed with such an obvious flaw? Flaw? Jutuna Platform G is the capital's main supplier of ceruleum. It wouldn't do if anyone could turn it off and on, now would it? The key is always kept secure, and there are only 2 people able to open the container it's usually stored in. Myself and Chief Frontinus. I haven't seen him since this blasted war began, but I can only imagine he's out there somewhere, key in hand. Yeah. You think he took it, or... which means he's avoided being tempered. Yeah, you think he took it? I've never met anyone quite as Lord of the Empire as Chief Frontinus. He probably took the key to stop anyone from misusing the platform. Then I'd say he succeeded in his aim. It stayed dormant this whole time, and out of the hands of the warring factions. Indeed. Now we just need to find out where he is. I'm sorry for wasting your time. There's no way we can get this place up and running without that key. Don't tell me you're going to give up just like that. Not after I've found a carburetor for you, you don't. Or is there another way? I suppose you're right. With the 3 of us together, surely we can think of something. Let's hope you're right about that, so we'll take our experience and 935 gil. Alright, Remonold, back over to you. And so, with it, we'll complete the last part of this chain quest, entitled Energy for All. Remonold has precisely 1 solution in mind, which is notably better than 0. Is there really no way to bypass the mechanism that the identification key interacts with? What exactly do you mean? I work at the manufactory in Ishgard. I once watched my superior, as is his way, dismantle a Magitech ornament and put it back together again. He succeeded in bypassing the verification mechanism required to activate the machine by rewiring it. I was wondering if something similar wouldn't be possible with the platform. That's something a second-rate thief would do! Well, beggars can't be choosers. Save your chief engineer appearing out of thin air, it's likely our only option. You got a point there. And far be it for me to turn down a proposal from a esteemed colleague. I'm so glad to have you at my disposal. That's the spirit, I suppose. And so, I shall return to camp and inform the quartermaster of our plan. He should be willing to spare an external power source and a few other tools if I vow to return them soon. Perhaps even some extra pairs of hands. And so yeah, Appius and I will be alone for a while. That leaves me to open up the control panel and rearrange a few things before Rimano returns. How are you gonna do that? In the meantime, I'd thank you to keep an eye out for anything that might eat him on the way back. There were never so many beasts around before, but they must have gotten comfortable without us traipsing back and forth across the ice. A little too comfortable if you ask me. And so as he goes on inside... Yeah, we're not going that far north, but still going north. Ooh, nice. And I cleared the gap, alright. Well, it looks like if I want a piece of this battle, I may have to fight an Almasti too. Alright. Let's do this. And make sure to avoid the obvious trap. Yeah, I got you where I want you. Take this. Yeah, you're down. And now it's your turn. And you're out. Alright, go. Yeah, do that strut with their chocobo there, Rika. Alright, around the corner and get back to Appius. I've done all I can for now. I even caught the end of your battle with those creatures. Spectacular. And so, sometime later, as the two of us chat... Oh, quite a few people. Ready to work, I hope? Of course. All that's left is to engage in a bit of an Ishgardian skullduggery. I'm not sure I care for that turn of phrase, but very well. We'll attach the power devices, which should allow you to utilize the control panel. Thrilling. This place will be up and running before you know it. Just stand back and watch the master at work. Alright. And so, let's get ready to see what's gonna happen. Yeah, they'll mull over the plane and see what they're gonna do. So Appius heads on back inside. Yeah, we all need a few laughs now and then, don't we, Elizabeth? So as Rika assesses the situation. Oh, this thing's working again, and boy is it ever working. The earth is shaking. Yeah, it worked, yes? You bet it did. There's life for the old girl yet. Glad to hear it. Of course, there's still a lot of work to be done to get ready to extract and refine ceruleum, but we're off to an excellent start. Which means Garlemald just took its first steps on the road to recovery. I cannot thank you both enough. Glad we could help. Yeah, he's so excited. Yeah, I guess we've now seen that happen, so yeah. What if this ends up being a required quest for an eventual Guardian reconstruction? Let's speak with Remoulade. I'm pleased that this plan was a success after all. I appreciate your seeing it through to the end. We can leave the rest of the engineers I brought with me. They're more than capable of keeping the place operational until we're prepared for the next phase. Now, let us all return to camp and inform Estelo of our triumph. And I will see the two of you there. Let's head on back to Broken Glass. Alright, and we have returned. Okay there, Estelo. We have come to deliver good news to you, sir. Ah, good to see you again. I was just wondering when I might hear how you had fared with the platform. It was a success? It seems I won't have to wait any longer. I trust your eagerness is a sign that you had some success. Yes, sir. We were able to access the platform's controls and confirm that it is operational. There's still adjustments to be made, but I imagine it won't be long until it's fully operational. Splendid! If the camp can secure a stable supply of energy, we can begin rebuilding throughout the region. It will doubtless give succor to those in Tappa's Den and the capital proper as well. One of our goals when we first came here was to improve the lives of those that still call this frozen land home, and you have made a great contribution toward realizing that ambition. Thank you, sir. I certainly wouldn't have made it this far without your genius. The days when Garlemald looked toward a bright future seem so distant now that the snow and frost have reclaimed their dominion. But I, for one, am ready to embark on the same journey that my ancestors once did, and build a new home around the warmth of cerulean flame. I am certain that when the time comes, I shall be proud to know that I worked alongside you. I must thank you as well. You have taught me to listen with sincerity to the words of those who I would have otherwise have unjustly scorned. Yeah, I guess I have that tendency to be able to bring people together like that. I imagine it will be some time before we can return to Laterum to its former inhabitants, but I promise that when we do, it will be in a better state than when you left. Well then, we better get to work. Ah, we, indeed. And away they go. And we can smile knowing we had a job well done here. So, for our final quest at Broken Glass, we'll take our experience points 935 gil, plus we're also now getting 180,000 because we're at level 85, and our option of foodstuff. And that means more crab cake for us. And so, there we go. Broken Glass is cleared out of quests again. Less for the main story, of course. But, of course, we know that there's a whole slew of quests over here as well. Yeah, there's gonna be no fewer than 8 or 9 to take care of. In fact, there could be even more than that. And it does include another blue quest, so we could very well be seeing another extensive chain of quests that we have to take on. And I, for one, can't wait for tomorrow for that to happen. So this is where we will bring things to an end here for today, and for that matter for the weekend. Having done 3 streams each over Saturday and Sunday and easily putting in like 13-14 hours of streaming, it was worth it if for no other reason that we helped to continue to advance the story of this game. And now we'll get back to our regular weekday schedule tomorrow. Well, I say regular schedule, but of course, we'll still have to wait in long queues in order to try to get into this game in the first place. But when we do, we can look forward to seeing what will happen next back over at Tertium. And so, before you guys leave tonight, I will see if I can have you raid someone. Who should it be? Alright. Alright, crap. Typed it wrong. Yeah, if you keep forgetting it's a slash, not an exclamation mark. So I will have you guys go and raid the leader of our Final Fantasy XIV fan club, Jayhawk, again. He's still in the midst of doing his Endwalker run for charity, and I'd certainly encourage you guys to go and show your support for him. It's the last day that he's doing his charity run in Endwalker, so I'd certainly encourage you guys to go and show your support for him, and we will see you guys back here again tomorrow as we continue on with side content here in Garlemald. So, with that, I'd like to thank everyone for watching the continuation of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker live here on Twitch. See you guys tomorrow night as our journey continues here in the land of ice and snow in the former Guardian Empire. So, thank you very much everyone for watching, and until next time everyone, may you ever walk in the light of the crystal.